So we have an Orianna as a first ban out. That's
Seems
Orianna's.
yeah, seems likely that was someone's dominating champion.
Yeah, I mean it's not a traditional ban. I mean Orianna is just a strong champion, kind of in any game, and she's been strong for a month. I think she hasn't really kind of gone down in people's estimations ever since she was released. She's always been strong. So you have a Vayne being banned out.
I might leave you for a second just to go to the bathroom.
Sure, that's
be
no
right back.
problem. I'll just go through the picks and bans. And so you have Vayne being banned out on one side. That's likely being a targeted ban, or maybe they just don't fancy going against that. And then again, Nasus, standard ban. Not much else to throw at that. Amumu is an interesting ban. You know, has always been played in jungle, really. You don't really see him played on top. You certainly don't see him in mid. And you occasionally see a troll play him as a support. So that I'd imagine that would have been a targeted ban as well. So it seems that oh, and Elise, again that's kind of a standard ban you'd expect. You know, Elise is strong top lane, not as strong in top lane as she is in jungle, but she is certainly being used more and more since the recent changes. And then Kassadin is yet again another standard ban. So we have the first pick as a Jarvan, and considering that's been taken with a Smite and Flash, I'd imagine that'll be going straight into the jungle. And then counter pick to that is a Lucian. I've been saying before earlier in the stream, exceptionally strong AD at the moment. Is usually always either banned out or picked. Korean scene, huge popularity, is always banned or picked in the OGN. He just does so much damage at the start. I find he does tend to trail off a bit in the mid game. When it comes to the late game, if you manage to land, 2/3 of your ulti, the culling, onto an opponent, it just does so much damage. And a Leona paired.
I am back.
And then just saying, and a Leona paired with that, she lands her ultimate, and Lucian lands a culling onto an enemy, especially with Varus, who doesn't really have any escape mechanisms. That's going to be tons of damage.
I really like the Lucian Leona combo. Actually, I think it's really strong.
Yeah, I mean, they swapped from a Varus to a Misfortune at the last second.
She probably will be able to fight with Lucian a little bit better. Which might be the rationale.
I don't know. I mean, I personally think that really only kind of Caitlyn and Tristana. I'm just trying to think, and Ezreal, really kind of the only ones that counter Lucian, just because they outrange her a bit more. I know that Crepo recently, when he was casting at the most recent ESL tournament, he was saying that kind of there are only really 3 ADs that can go toe to toe with the Lucian. Misfortune certainly wasn't one of them.
I think it's probably dependent on the support. I think because they have a Zyra, it might not be the case. But if there was like a Leona or a Taric, I think that, as a 2v2, could fight the Lucian.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a Misfortune works particularly well if they have locked in that volley best, so she'll be able to quite easily counter his passive if he starts regenning. At the moment, I am liking this composition of a Vi, volley, Lucian.
Vi is really strong right now, from what I've seen. Like her ganks in the early game are really good right now.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I mean, DeMontfort. I am liking DeMontfort seeing there because Vi can just ultimate. She can focus onto that Misfortune, who again doesn't really have any escape mechanisms, and just lock her down. Kaelin Riven being swapped over to Shyvana. Kael's quite an interesting choice there because, if V uses her ultimate, Kael can just throw on an invincibility shield onto anyone who's targeted by V, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah, that's
and just
definitely a good point.
mitigate that damage. And Riven, it'll be interesting to see which of Riven and Kael will go top lane and mid lane, because recently there has been a number of people who have played Riven mid lane. I suppose this might be dependent upon.
I'd
who
love to
DeMontfort
see Riven mid lane.
choose.
That'd be really entertaining.
Yeah, I mean it is. I think that's quite a clever pick actually by
The
Scarra'd
chat,
for Life.
the chat's talking about the Volibear pick as being some sort of signature champion.
Well, I mean that's not too surprising actually because you don't see Volibear too often.
Yeah.
It looks like this will have a niddly mid lane. But I think Scarra'd for Life's champion pick there, the last two champions that they chose was Kale and Raven. That's quite a clever choice because with both of those they are quite capable of going either mid lane or top lane, and so they knew that one of them would probably fare better against
Whoever they picked mid.
yeah, whoever DeMontfort picked mid, which has been locked in as a niddly.
I think the DeMontfort team is kind of confusing because they have like this sort of half poke, half engaged thing going on. I don't think Nidalee fits too well with Volibear, Vi, and Leona, personally, but we'll see how they use it. They might be using it for split pushing purposes and then trying to like 4v4 or something. That could be a thing.
Possibly, I mean, if they're poking down with, then again, I'd imagine it would be Nidalee who'd be split pushing, so they're not really going to be poking, kind of with the other four members of the team. But yeah, I mean, you've got Lucian and. I mean, it may be a case that they're thinking of using Lucian and Nidalee to kind of poke when it comes to a sieging opportunity, and then if Nidalee kind of lands that one spear on, Miss Fortune or Zyra, then they say, okay, Vi, Volley, Leona.
The Kale pick is pretty good here though, because with all that dive in, they've got a good opportunity to save the person that's getting focused the most with the Vi ultimate. So I think both teams have good comps. It'll be interesting to see how they use Nidalee, whether it's for split pushing or sieging.
I think it's also interesting to note that no one Scarra'd for Life has taken exhaust. You've got that Zyra there that's gone.
Yeah, that is weird actually.
Kind of full A. Looks like you're going full AP.
Considering how much dive they've got on DeMontfort Demon's team, I would have thought that an exhaust would be useful to get them off of the carries. But maybe they're just relying on Riven and Zyra to peel.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that Zyra's masteries page, it has selected kind of listed as aggressive support. So kind of gone 9-0-21. Although, and kind of the rune pages as well, has selected standard mid. So has gone mainly ability power, magic pen.
I can't see this Zyra's rune pages.
No, it did come up blank.
Oh, here we go. I had to redo it. Right, so yeah, her, basically just a mid laner page.
So yeah, it looks like they will be trying to go quite aggressive in that bot lane. But I mean, at the moment, I prefer DeMontfort's team in both late game and.
See, I've actually got a difference of opinion. I prefer Scarra'd for Life's team, so it'll be interesting to see which one of us. Do you want to make a friendly bet?
No, because I've been wrong in all of my predictions in pretty much all the games I've got. I thought KVGS Kittens were going to lose. And they
destroyed that game.
I thought Cardiff might have been better in that second game we just casted, and they still lost. So probably save my money and not. I mean, I think. I think that DeMontfort have a better Team 1 fight composition. Just because of that Leona will be able to lock someone.
Volley's really good at level 1 as well. But having said that, Riven's pretty good level 1, Zyra's really good level 1. MF is actually deceptively good level 1. I think it's pretty even. I think
DeMontfort have a better Team 1 fight if, they hide in a bush and they catch someone that way and it's all quite close quarters sort of stuff. Whereas if it's a bit of a chase involved in the open out in the river, then I think Scarra'd for Life have a bit of a better Team 1 fight. So I think it's dependent upon where that fight takes place, if at all it does take place at all, of course.
Yeah, I see that point. I think though that I like the sort of peeling style thing that Scarra'd for Life has going on. I think it's pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it.
Yeah, I mean, it. It's just because I just think Leona is such a good support. Like if she gets rolling, she gets 1 or 2 assists at the start.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely potential for bot lane. I think bot lane is in favor of DeMontfort Demons, but I think the team fights are in favor of Scarr'd for life.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. Just reading through some of the Twitch chat saying it kind of might have been better if they picked a Gragas instead.
Instead of the Nidalee?
I think that's what was being insinuated by DTT.
It really depends on how they're using this Nidalee pick, because they could be using split push and then try and force someone away in like 4v4, or they could be using it to siege with Lucian, and then once they're a bit poked, they've got really good follow-up dive to go in. But it's kind of the opposite of your normal poke comp, because normally in a poke comp, you poke them and you disengage, and then you poke them.
Yeah.
Whereas what they've got going on is like poke and then engage.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, I think another interesting point out that I've mentioned in the previous games, that kind of which team has the tankiest champions, who's going to be able to absorb the most damage. I'd have to say it seems that DeMontfort does have the tanky team. You've got the Leona, naturally tanky, Volley, naturally tanky, and he's got his passive, and then Vi can certainly build tanky as well. Whereas you look at Scarr'd for life, they've got Jarvan. Okay, he certainly goes into kind of a tank mode. But Riven, if that Riven goes mid, expect her to build damage, and so she's not going to be as tanky. And then really they haven't got anyone else. But considering they do have that Kayle ultimate, maybe they think we don't need kind of a second tank. Maybe they can just build Riven as a bit of an off tank sort of build, and just use that Kayle ulti when needs be.
Yeah, I think they've got more options with their build because of having the Kayle and like the Zyra to do really good peel. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how both teams play their comps. Actually, I think they're both really interesting.
I mean, it certainly doesn't look like we're going to have any level 1 engage. Both teams playing it safe. My sound might have just gone dead.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I muted my mic.
Alright, I was just wondering why I couldn't hear anything for a second.
Yeah, I was just saying I think it's a solid choice to not do anything at level 1. It's 1-1 tied up series right now. Neither team wants to throw away anything or like lose morale, anything like that. So it's a good choice, and as I said, it's a bit of a toss-up between the strength of the level 1s, so it's a bit risky.
Then again, as we saw in the game between Cardiff and Manchester, Cardiff still won that level 1 fight and still ended up losing it, so it's not...
Oh, it's not definitive at all, but it certainly can help.
Interesting to see that everyone in Scarr'd for life went for the warding totem trinket. So they're not gonna be able to clear out any wards at all for some time until someone picks up a pink ward.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting, but I guess the logic was that it's more important to see the Vi coming than for their jungler to get ganks off or something like that. Because Vi is excellent at ganking in the early game. They have to be very aware of that.
I mean, should of course point out that Kayle kind of has gone into the mid lane and Riven's gone up top to go against Riven. So it'll be up to Kayle to dodge all of those spears.
Yeah, I mean, Kayle's got good auto attack harass when her E's up, so I think mid lane will be pretty even. Good route from Zyra there, stopping them from properly going in on the MF. All the lanes seem pretty even right now. Jarvan's farming a lot faster than Vi is. Volibear's taking a lot of harass, but Riven's eating a lot of minion damage, and Volley turned that around pretty quick.
Yeah, at the moment I get the feeling that Riven might start winning this lane. I mean, I know that's only the first kind of 2 or 3 waves, but
oh wow, Lucian taking a lot of damage there.
Yeah, that was a good route by Thorns there. Appropriate name.
Yeah, I mean, I was speaking with one of my friends earlier who's in Diamond, and he was saying that Volibear top's like one of the strongest lanes, but he's really bad later on. But Vi coming in here might be able to... Oh, Riven had to flash. She would have been knocked up and slowed and then thrown back, and that would have been pretty brutal, so probably a
Yeah,
good
I'd
flash.
imagine that Riven will be playing a bit safe now. Vi might try and camp out that top lane now, knowing that she's vulnerable.
Good root
They're only
on the
getting caught
Leona.
out by vines there.
Oh! That was a nice attempt at a bait from the
Oh,
Zyra, actually.
Jarvan's coming in there. They had no vision.
Does land the knock-up onto Odin, and Dark Ascension, Divine Ascension comes in, gets exhausted though. So they
Yeah,
burned in
Lucian.
an exhaust, that's going to be good for them.
Yeah, Lucian did use his flash though, so I mean, admittedly, he does have that small kind of dash escape that can be useful in certain
More
situations.
roots onto the Leona. This Zyra is landing all her roots, but there's not much follow-up so far. And
No, I
think
mean,
Riven actually had to base there, I believe. That's why she's full health again. So that's she's not having a very easy
that
time
would-
up in that top lane.
yeah, that would explain the second Dawn's Blade as well. So
Yeah.
she's going to be.
She's
It-
really struggling to CS too. Although on the flip side of that, Nidalee is really having a tough time in mid as well. So things are pretty even so far. 300 gold lead to Scarra'd for life. Looks like
Yeah,
this
I mean-
Vi's just going to come up and push the lane so Nidalee can go back.
Yeah, I mean, Misfortune's got a 10 CS lead on Lucian at the moment, which is really surprising to me at the moment, because I was saying that Lucian really should be beating a
I think
Misfortune.
it comes down to the Zyra doing a lot of work, whereas the Leona hasn't really done that much yet. Lucian gets bound up again. And yeah, I mean, also Jarvan supporting obviously came in and had a big influence on that CS as well. So.
I think one important thing to point about Lucian's dash as well is, I mean, some people might not be aware of it, but his when he dashes, he clears all slowing effects on him, not stuns or roots. So whenever Misfortune throws down that rain of bullets, as soon as he's caught in that, he can just dash and he'll be able to escape from that. So that's not really a huge worry for him when
Yeah.
it comes to engages.
That's why you hear a lot of pro players talking about, you know, picking Thresh into Lucian isn't that great because your ultimate doesn't do so much and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, every time I pick Lucian and I see the opposition pick Thresh just because they think he's strong, I think, oh goody, that should be an easy lane for me.
Yeah, definitely. So, top lane, Riven's actually come back into it quite a lot. She's ahead in CS now. Which is probably in part due to being the item up. And Kayle is just wailing on this Nidalee. Get some really good damage down there.
Yeah, it certainly seems that kind of the mid lane, kind of the top lane, they certainly just seem to be having just a very slight edge.
Oh, Riven's gonna dive onto the Volibear.
Riven's gone deep.
I think that might have been a bit too deep, though. Oh, no!
Oh dear.
That was a pretty big misplay from the Riven. When she realized she didn't hit her stun, she probably should have backed out a bit faster than that.
Yeah, that was just overconfidence. I didn't see her use I mean, she did use her ultimate, but she didn't use the second part of it. She didn't use the wind slash. Yeah, that was just unlucky, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the bloodlust in her eyes as soon as she hit 6 and Volibear didn't. But it looks like MF getting some good damage on the Lucian. There's some turnaround by Leona, though. And, I mean, Scarr'd for Life are definitely winning these trades by a decent margin, which is a bit surprising.
Yeah.
Mid lane's also going Scarr'd for Life's way. Jarvan's doing a bit more farming than Vi is. Also did the gank bot, which is good. So I think overall Scarr'd for Life are doing pretty good, but obviously that kill meant that the gold difference is only 100 or so.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be tough to call it then, but you just get one of those kind of, oh, Lucian just caught out by the very end of the grasping vines, but I don't know, I've just got this feeling that Scarr'd for Life just seem to be very, very slightly ahead.
Yeah.
And despite not having that kill, they just seem to be a bit more aggressive, and you can't win by playing defensive all the time.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is slight, as you were saying. It's certainly not anything definitive yet, but every little helps, as they say. Looks like Riven's still ahead, even though she died or something. And MF actually ulting the wave bot to push and go back, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like they. Yeah, Thorns and Divine Ascension are going to go back and buy up. Still got a 10 CS lead there, so she should. It'd be interesting if she's gone. It looked like she said, "I've got enough for a BF sword," and she had enough for an extra Dawn's Blade as well. So
Lucian's actually ulting bot wave as well to push it out. Interesting that they both did that. It does mean that MF is going to come off cooldown first, so they might go for something there. That was a really nice toss over his shoulder by Volibear in the middle of the jump. Riven took a lot of damage there.
yeah, all the lanes seem fairly even. We now see DeMontfort's bot lane backing to go and buy, and he's gone straight for a Phage. You went back and bought a Phage and boot, so DeMontfort's AD Lucian seems to be going straight for the Trinity Force, and then Scarra'd for Life's Misfortune is going for the Bloodthirster.
Yeah, it's interesting actually. I haven't seen the Triforce rush on Lucian that often. It's quite often an item they pick up in the late game once they've completed everything else. They like swap out their static shiv for it, but it's interesting to see that he's gone that. He's looking to fight early game, I guess.
True. I mean, usually, with Lucian's Q, kind of as he levels that up, the amount of bonus. Oh, seeing DeMontfort being bullied a bit in bottom lane, and Kayle is wailing on that Vi in mid lane.
Yeah.
Vi just trying to save some,
Getting some good damage in.
get some creeps out of that. But yeah, that Kayle is doing a lot of damage at the moment.
Top lane, Riven looks like she might actually be going onto this volley there. No, I'm backing away.
No, I think she must have been thinking he's got his ultimate up. That's going to be a pain for me to wail through.
Oh, here we go. Ultimate, Ignite's burned. Vi's there though. She might. Oh, she got the wind flash off in time.
Oof.
It's going to be a trade back from the Vi, but that does even up the lane in terms of kills, which is definitely good for the one-on-one part of that.
But that Riven did a lot of damage on that Vi as well, considering.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Riven is pretty strong with 2 Dorn's Blades and a Vamp Scepter.
True. It looks like Scarf Life are going to be going for a dragon.
This looks relatively uncontested as well. I don't see the bot lane of DeMontfort Demons being able to do much here.
I mean, they've spotted it now, but they knew that Vi was top lane, so they're not going to have any smite steal there. So they were pretty safe in that.
It's actually interesting. If Zyra had been at the front of the pit rather than the back, she might have been able to follow up from that misfortune slow.
But no, I was saying before that with the builds that the AD seems to be going for, with Lucian's Q with his piercing light, the poke kind of it scales up better with bonus AD. So usually you do see people kind of going for at least a BF sword first, going for a Bloodthirst. It's just because it does grant so much more damage. Where a Phage, he's gone in.
Oh man, MF actually took quite a lot there as well. Zyra plant's eating up like half of Lucian's ultimate. That's a pretty big deal. I think MF is gonna get a turn on to. Oh, Zyra has to flash there. That was a pretty close engage. Both the ADs and the supports ending up pretty similar healths.
Yeah, I really feel like Lucian could have got a kill there after the initial engage. With Leona, Lucian kind of dashed back towards his turret, and I get the feeling that if he dashed towards the fight and got that double hit from his passive off, they might have been able to finish one of them off at least.
Yeah, definitely possible. One thing I was going to say about the Lucians is, from my experience, what seems to be the most common Lucian build is going for a Bloodthirster into a Static Shiv. Static Shiv gives a lot of kind of invisible power to Lucians because you charge it up a lot faster with your double hit, and also your ultimate applies some on-hit effects, and I think that's one of them. So,
that is true. I mean, personally, admittedly, I do build kind of I go Bloodthirsters and then I go into a Triforce just because I quite like the. You see Riven going.
Riven's going in hard. I think. Oh, that heal from Volibear is way too hard.
Oh, the heal.
Again,
Yeah,
Riven with the audacity, just over aggression.
Yeah, I mean, luckily Riven still seems to be. I mean, despite being kind of three kills down now, she had 3 deaths. She just seems to be kind of holding her own, but Yeah, that volley bear passive just she couldn't burst through that.
Oh, Vi's coming in on the Kale, but the Kale got away there. Speed boost from the heal is pretty nice when it comes to getting away from stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that certainly will be useful. Kind of, Kale will use that speed boost on a Jarvan for team fight engages later, just so that he can kind of ulti into the opposition. It's interesting that kind of both Lucian and Nidalee, who I'd imagine would be the two main targets for that. And we do have a pause coming up. Lag issues apparently from Misfortune, from Scarr'd for Life at the moment. But no, I'll carry on what I was saying. With there's only kind of Jarvan is going to be looking to use his ultimate on Lucian and Nidalee. But those two characters, they do have the ability to get out of that cataclysm. Lucian can dash out, and Nidalee, if she goes into Cougar form, she'll be able to leap out as well.
One thing which is pretty interesting is that Scarr'd for Life are actually about a K ahead in gold, even though they're 2 kills down. And that's just the result of that dragon and much better farming across the board.
Yeah, I think it seems that Riven may just be resetting the client.
We've got something on the Twitch chat. One of the players told us it's a reasonably long pause, so we know that ahead of time.
Okay.
I think though that Scarr'd for Life, even being 2 kills down, even aside from the gold lead, I think their comp's just better at this stage in the game too. I'm interested to see how the game progresses though.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the. It's interesting to see the build between the two mids as well. I mean, Kale's got a huge CS advantage over Nidalee. Just over 30 CS, but has only built Berserker's Greaves boots, which is. No, we have one person reconnecting.
Yeah.
Berserker's Greaves boots are kind of they're a rational thing for Kale to go and build into, and Nidalee's gone kind of first main item, gone for a Chalice of Harmony, which she's going to be chucking out that spears all day, so she's going to need that. Usually, you do see some people go for a Tears of the Goddess first, just to build it up so that kind of they'll hit that peak in mid game.
I have a feeling if she went for Tear of the Goddess, that mid lane would be looking a lot more one-sided towards Kale.
That is true. Yeah, maybe she needed that extra kind of MR a bit to.
Yeah, it's the MR and also the mana regen, so she can keep healing herself. I think the combination of those two things is keeping her in lane. Also, it means that like she can kind of tank stuff a bit more with that MR when she goes into Cougar form to clear waves.
Okay, so we now have both of the summoners that disconnected and then reconnected. We'll see if they're starting anytime soon. It just seems that they're having lag issues from Scarr'd for Life, who are from Imperial College, I believe it is down in London.
It's Imperial College.
Yeah, you'd expect down in London that they'd have pretty good internet connection, but there we go.
Well, student life, you buy the cheapest internet you can afford to play on, so.
True. Not unless you get a grant like me.
I wish I was you.
PhD student, get a grant. Can't complain. It seems that just looking at the junglers, I mean, Vi's had a greater impact on the game so far, just getting that one extra kill on top. And it seems to be putting more pressure on lanes. Also interesting and they are ready, so we'll be resuming back into the game. Interesting that Vi's gone for the boots and mobility, so she's certainly going to be looking for kind of going for those ganks. And
she's heading for a gank bot here, and she's bypassed the wards with her Q. So this could be pretty catastrophic. They're engaging onto Zyra. She almost died immediately. Oh wow, MF just needs to get the heck out of dodge. and she is probably gonna die here as well. That is a really nice turnaround for DeMontfort Demons. They're still behind in gold, but 2 kills onto a Lucian is a big deal.
That was good communication there as well. You just see Riven getting flipped back towards the tower there a bit. Oh, and Volibear
already has a Randuin's Omen. He is just taking
beefy.
Dump on that Riven.
But you see there was good communication there by DeMontfort, because they gave that second kill to Lucian. Kind of Vi held off and said, kind of, here you go Lucian, take that double kill. So they're obviously trying to build that Lucian up, because they know that he has the potential to be a devastating force in the late game.
Yeah, it's definitely the right decision to make. And the gold is now even, so they've done a really good job of coming back into this.
Yeah, we see Dragon's going to be up in 2 minutes now, so I'd like to see kind of maybe a push on mid lane in about a minute's time, or maybe another re-engage down bottom. Force one of those 2 lanes to go back and go for Dragon again.
Yeah, definitely. To be honest, what I actually think that Scarr'd for Life should do is swap the lanes between Kayle and Riven. Because Kayle has a Kayle... Ooh, had to flash there. Kayle has a reasonable matchup against the Volibear, and the Randuin's Omen isn't going to hurt her nearly as much as it's hurting the Vi, so... It'd be interesting if they do that kind of thing. Oh, Leona ultimate! And Lucian ultimate doing a lot of damage to the Zyra. That is a kill.
That was really good positioning there by Odin. That was really good.
Things are starting to go a bit pear-shaped for Scarr'd for Life. They're about to lose mid tower as well. Minute till Dragon, we'll see if DeMontfort Demons use this map control they've just gained to make a push for it.
Yeah, DeMontfort, they take down a tower, they get a kill down bottom. We do see Jarvan's coming down bottom, and they go and
engage onto this Leona. Didn't get the knock-up, but she is locked in there. Well, that was definitely a good turnaround. It's the kind of thing that they need to be doing to bring that bot lane back into check. Because at the moment, they can just kill that Zyra really fast. Ooh, Vi's going on to Kayle. She's kind of caught alone here. Jarvan's on his way up, though. And it looks like they're backing away, because I think they probably know that Jarvan is there. This Riven's having a really tough time. She's actually ahead in the CS though, which is impressive.
Yeah, I mean she's still holding her own sort of thing, but I just feel like in a 1v1, that Volley's just going to beat her out. I mean, even I think without his passive being a factor in the fight, he'd still win in a 1v1.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about Volibear in lane. He is a monster, but you know, later in the game, his team fight ability is kind of iffy. He needs to get there, and to be honest, Scarr'd for Life has a lot of ways of stopping him from getting to where he needs to be.
That is true, yeah. I mean, obviously, we see Lucian trying to go in a bit on MF, but you'd imagine that Volley would try to try to run in and grab onto that Misfortune if she tries to pop her ultimate. But you've got the Vines there, you've got Jarvan who'll be able to knock up, and if he throws Cataclysm down, that'll be an obstacle to get around. Riven will be trying to bounce him around the place as well.
I mean, you got the Stranglethorn from Zyra is probably the biggest one, just gonna stop anyone from getting there. It looks like they're actually going all in top lane.
Ignite's News.
He is really low. Oh man.
Minion finished.
Riven is struggling, dude. And they're gonna pick up a dragon, it looks like.
Yeah,
and I think for the first time in the game, DeMontfort Demons is actually at a gold lead, even though they're 2 for 7.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna. Looks like Hornet's gonna pick up this tower as well on top lane.
Things are definitely starting to look up for DeMontfort Demons, but I mean, Scarr'd for Life. Normally, you look at a game which is 2-7 and you think they're terribly behind, but the fact that they've got CS, they're going in on Zyra. Zyra is just instantly dead. And, oh, MF probably shouldn't have stayed to ult there. She got hit by the Leona ultimate. Jarvan coming in for the save. And MF's away. That was very close. Oh! The spear was very close, too.
I always love casting games on Nidalee, because you always have the
yep.
Whether she's going to land the spear or not.
The sharp intake of breath to build suspense.
Yeah, they take that tower down. I think one important thing to note there is that MS ultimate, is like she got it across all all four of DeMontfort's champions there, but it didn't really seem to do that damage. I was looking at the amount of damage it was doing on Lucian, and it really wasn't that much. I would have been expecting it to do a bit more.
Well, she hasn't actually finished up her BT, which is interesting, because given the amount of farm she's got, I would have expected her to have that by like 15 minutes, so she might just not have been back for a while or something like that.
Yeah, when you look at Lucian, I mean, okay, I know he's got 3 kills, but he's gone... It looks like he's going to be going for a last Whisper next after this Triforce that he's got.
Looks like they're going to go in on the Volley Bear, and
I'd imagine
that Randuin's Omen is causing a big problem for that.
Yeah, and he knew he had Vi there as well for support.
Riven the Snail. Looks like Jarvan does need to be a bit careful here. He's backed away.
Yeah, I think he was probably he was feeling relatively confident there because he could just lance over a wall at any point.
It'll be interesting to see where the next action happens, because with a lot of towers down now, it's probably not going to be until the next dragon that there's a huge fight.
No, I don't think. I mean, with DeMontfort arguably being kind of slightly in the lead at the moment, I don't think they feel confident enough to kind of go for a team fight.
Kayle needs to be careful not to get converged on here. Leona, if she ults or something. Oh, the flash! Well, an ultimate for a flash is normally a pretty good trade in the person who ultimated because of cooldowns, so...
Maybe I was wrong in that they do feel confident to maybe go under this turret.
Ooh, Kayle had to disengage there because of that Lucian ult. But Zyra landing really good Stranglethorns on the Volley Bear.
Oh, flashes out though.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Oh, the meanwhile,
MF, yeah.
pushing on that bot lane, yeah.
That was a pretty good trade-off. I mean, I think slightly better play, and they might have been able to get some kills onto DeMontfort, but that was pretty good. And they're sticking around, so maybe they'll go for something once MF gets here.
Yeah, I mean MF now has she's finished the Bloodthirst and she's got the Brutalizer, so one has to assume that she's going straight into the Black Cleaver after that. So her ultimate will be shredding a lot of armor, and it will be shredding through that Randuin's that Volley's built.
Yeah, it's interesting actually, because a lot of the damage coming from Kayle and Riven is physical as well, so they're going to be shredding a bunch of armor, and then they've got 3 people doing a bunch of damage because of it. Ooh, flash from Leona, nearly got caught by the roots there. They're killing this tower pretty quickly, but Vi looks like she might ult in a second. No, she's going to be patient. Good roots to just stop them from...
Yeah, hit 3 of them there, that was perfect.
There's a really huge minion wave top, which I'm guessing Riven's going to go clear now. Which might actually give them an opportunity to push on the mid. Yeah, she's going to have to stick around.
Yeah, dragging up in the minute 50. Nidlee's just hiding around that wall, it's just going to be flinging spears out. Again, Lucian using the culling there to...
Didn't really get too much out of that culling, to be honest. Probably would have been better used when they were like disengaging or something. So we'll see if that has an effect on the next fight.
No, I mean I find that the culling you really notice the damage when it's used on a squishy champion such as a Kayle or the Zyra or the MF. That when you see it kind of hitting on the Riven or the Jarvan, it really barely scratches them.
Yeah.
So he does have to be in the right position there.
The reason why it's so good even in that situation though is that at least you're doing something. In most scenarios you wouldn't be able to be attacking at all. Some damage is better than no damage, which is one of the reasons why Lucian is so good.
Yeah, it does have a good range, and I think even though the damage isn't as great, and it's been referred to by a number of people as a dulling because it just doesn't seem to do that much damage.
I hadn't heard that one, but that's great.
Yeah, but I think it just has a mental effect on the team fight as well.
Oh, Jarvan's going in.
Ooh,
he
Jarvan's
only caught the Volley Bear in the ultimate, but it's not the person you want to be catching. MF is a bit close getting ulted by Vi, and
Vi's gone in deep perfectly onto that MF.
The Vi is gonna die here, it looks like. Fight is pretty even right now.
Looks like it's a 1-for-1, but DeMontfort came off worse out of that.
Yeah, they're lower HPs and they lost a Vi compared to a Zyra, so that was definitely good for Scarra'd for life. They also, obviously they didn't lose their tower and they won't have pressure on it for a while, so yeah, I'd say that was just about in favor of Scarra'd for life.
Yeah, I think Scarra'd must be feeling quite happy about it, because it wasn't it wasn't necessarily the best engage by Jarvan. Kind of he went in, and there seemed to be kind of a bit of a delay between him going in and the rest of the team following up.
Well,
So,
that
yeah,
just happens when you EQ like half a screen away and then you ult half a screen away. You gotta consider that the team is gonna struggle to follow up a whole screen. So.
Yeah. I mean, I know you do have to play that thing. I mean, Dragon is up at the moment. It looks like DeMontfort are going to be.
Yeah, I mean, Scarr'd for Life is just not even close to being in position to.
So they did just ping it, so they
Vi's
seem to be
waiting
converging.
to go onto it, which is actually giving time for Scarr'd for Life to get there. So it looks
Yeah,
like there
okay.
is going to be a fight on this.
Yeah, they do have vision of it. So it looks like we have another team fight coming up in a moment.
Jarvan really needs to land his combo onto more than just Volibear if they want to have a more well-fought engagement.
Yeah, when you consider that Vi in that last team fight managed to get straight onto the AD, it wasn't perfectly timed because.
Oh, here we go!
Jarvan's gone in.
And it looks like
Only
Leona and
that's not
Jarvan
the
are
right
just
target.
dueling there. That was a 4-man ultimate from Leona, but she's just going to die pretty quick. Jarvan got really low, but that was no deaths for Scarr'd for Life so far. Have to see, Kale's just zoning. Look at Kale's damage on that Vi. Just... Ooh, man, Volibear is pretty fat, but he's going in with no backup. Vi ulted a Jarvan. That was not a good fight for DeMontfort Demons. They got out of position and then decided to engage on people that they didn't want to engage on.
No, it looks like they're going to be going Vi hunting. And Jarvan and Misfortune and Riven. Oh, they've seen her.
Here
She's
we
not going to
go.
escape from this.
This is surely a dead Vi. Oh!
This is the Lance.
Is that going to be an
He's gonna
execute? No, surely not.
No, the slow from the shield a couple of seconds ago would have propped that.
Well, that just gave Scarr'd for Life a 4k gold lead, which is pretty substantial. I mean, they're still 3 kills behind. It's amazing how much better they've been farming and stuff.
Yeah, it's just down to the farm and down to the dragons that they've got. I mean, because they're as you said, they're behind on kills, but they're equal on towers, so it is just down to the farm.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is what I was saying about the team comp. It does kind of feel a little bit strange on the side of DeMontfort Demons. The Nidalee isn't getting a chance to do enough before the fight starts, and the fights are always being engaged by Scarr'd for Life, even though DeMontfort Demons really wants to be the one engaging with the Vi and the Volibear and the Leona. So the team comp's not really working out the way they planned, I think.
Yeah, I mean, just saw Nidalee there throw out a spear, and it was nearly at maximum range when it hit Jarvan. It only did about kind of 10% damage on him. I know she's not going to be aiming the spears at him, but if Jarvan's trying to take those hits and he's only taking 10% of his HP, that's not going to worry them that much if they want to go for an engage.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'd like to see Scarr'd for Life maybe do a siege in mid lane sometime soon, because they're getting pretty strong. It's difficult to siege into, though, I guess, because of the Nidalee and the Lucian poking. But the wave clear is pretty much only Lucian on the side of DeMontfort Demons.
Yeah, that is true. They would do quite well. I mean, they've got Volibear's up on top there, and he's going to have to come back down to middle to try and defend this.
There's
Lucian...
a culling in order to give time for his team to get there.
Yeah, it looks like Scarr'd for Life they're backing away and just gonna maybe try and set up for a fight elsewhere rather than.
Oh, Jarvan's going in, 4-man in the Cataclysm. MF volley flashes to cancel it, but just gets melted pretty much straight away. Vi's sitting on top of them as well, but the Kale ult just stops everything, and this is very one-sided. DeMontfort Demons hardly did anything that fight, even though they had the ability to pretty much cancel the MF's ultimate straight away.
Riven was still going for it in their base.
I mean,
There's
that
only Nidalee left alive.
doesn't surprise me given how she's been playing all game, just very aggressive player. I'm not too sure what DeMontfort Demons can do to come back in this unless they get some really good spears before a fight. Because that Kale ult's just stopping, the fed Volibear from doing anything, stopping the fed Vi from doing anything. And the Jarvan is strong enough that he's not really that worried about the Lucian.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the MF bullet time and then the Cataclysm combo with Jarvan. That they timed that pretty well. I mean, okay, Volibear managed to get into MF and Disruptor, but it was kind of a bit little too late, and they just saw that Volibear was there. Not sure whether he did have his passive up yet or not, but I mean, I don't think it would have mattered because they just bursted him down so fast.
Yeah, I mean, he died pretty much as soon as he got onto the MF. I mean, she had got full stacks of Black Cleaver, I'm guessing, off by that point. And once that happened, her Riven, even Kayle was doing a lot of damage. I mean, Kayle obviously is mostly magical, but she's got decent AD as well, so...
Yeah, I mean, we have Dragon up in 1 minute 40, and Baron is being pinged by Scarra'd. I'd imagine we're going to end up seeing the next fight around one of those two objectives at the moment. It may be the case that Scarra'd will kind of they'll wait out around Baron, kind of force a fight because somebody's going to have to deal with the super minions that are going to be pushing down mid.
Yeah, definitely. I think Baron's 100% the right call for Scarra'd here. We've already seen how ridiculously one-sided the 5v5s have been. And I just gotta say, this Kayle is the MVP for me of this game. 304, 251 CS to 180. She is doing so much damage, and her ults have been spot on.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at both the side lanes as well, bot lane is going to be pushing, they're going to have a huge wave going. And top lane is also going to be slowly pushing as well, so this would be the perfect time for Scarra'd to force a Baron. But it looks like we have both MF and Riven going towards it.
Looks like they want to go for top tower instead, which is an interesting decision. I guess maybe they don't feel quite as confident as I do that they'll win every 5v5, so they just want to siege some more.
True. There was in fact, I'm not sure whether I should bother bringing out this tiny anecdote because the team fight might might get started any second. Both teams know where they are at the moment. So MF is out in lane and the rest are all hiding in jungle.
Yeah, it seems like they're just poking around each other. I think
Nilly lands a nice spear on
there's
Zyra.
a culling to clear the wave again. It's unfortunate that Lucian has basically always had to do that. I've only seen like 1 or 2 killings which weren't for clearing the wave this game. That was about a quarter of the health of the turret gone in one push, so if they can keep that up, it'll be good.
Yeah, they can wait because they've got bot lane pushing, they've got mid lane pushing. They can just hang around here because they've got the heal from.
And Vi's in
Kayle,
mid lane right now, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see. Oh wow, that spear on MF could definitely cause problems if Kayle doesn't get a perfect ulti off on her.
No, if it was doing just a tiny little bit more damage, then they might stand a chance. But you can just see MF is just healing up so fast.
Yeah, I mean this is the tower gone pretty much. Kayle and MF obliterate this.
Yeah, Vi's had to go back and deal with the super minions pushing. I'd imagine that they might. No, they're pinging on the turret. They're pinging on that top turret. So it looks like Scarra'd are going to be pushing that top turret as well. Because they know that bot lane is still pushing. It looks like that bot tower might go down as well.
Pretty close to hitting the MF there. I mean, if they land a few good spears, the fights could go their way, but so far it's just not happening. Wouldn't be surprised to see Vi ult MF here while she's at the front, but it looks like they're a bit too scared. And MF getting hit by another spear, that might be the signal for Scarra'd to back off a little bit. Yeah,
the inhibitor has come back up, so it's unlikely that they'd go for Baron at the moment. Yeah, it looks like they are backing away. So while they're backing away, we have
they're going for Dragon.
Oh no, they have. Oh, Riven failed to jump into the Baron pit there.
They're going to kill this pretty quickly with the Kayle and MF being as strong as they are. I don't see...
Yeah,
DeMontfort aren't going to get a chance to react to this.
No, they're going to be thinking they've just backed and gone to base or something, but... Yeah, now they've got that regen. They're all at full health, but they think we've got the gold. Yeah, nearly all of them have got over 1,000 gold. Misfortune's nearly got 4,000 gold on her at the moment.
Wow.
So she's going to have a huge power spike coming out. It'll be interesting to see what she buys. Gone straight for a Guardian's Angel.
It's not a bad choice. I mean, they don't really need more damage. They've got enough. I mean, the Kayle is almost carrying harder than the MF at this point. I wouldn't be surprised to see the damage graph at the end show that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good pick, because that's essentially, now I've got Kayle ult, and that's nearly kind of an extra life in the fight, and then they've got that Guardian's Angel, that's another life in the fight. and they're going straight for Dragon as well after this. So what they're doing now is one interesting fact I heard at, I think it was somebody mentioned it at DreamHack recently, where they've had a LCS promotion tournament going on there. That any team that takes down the bottom inhibitor of whatever side you're on, purple or blue, if the bottom inhibitor goes down, then you have a 70% chance of winning your game.
Yeah, it's because it's so far from Baron. Like, if the bottom inhibitor goes down and they have to defend super minions, you can do Baron really easily. Or if it doesn't, they can't defend the super minions properly, and you get much better push into their base. It's much more significant than if you kill the top or middle one.
Yeah, I mean, bot lane's pushing for Scarr'd for life. Top lane isn't pushing, so DeMontfort don't have to worry about that. But
Jarvan's looking for blood here. This inhibitor's going to die pretty fast.
Yeah, with the Baron buff, they don't really need to worry about it.
DeMontfort are just looking on and just, being sad, basically. They didn't even poke there, really. They couldn't do anything.
I don't think that's necessarily the best use of the culling there, when they know that a wave of minions is being pushed out.
Oh my god, look at that damage onto Vi! She didn't even get off her ultimate there, just destroyed. Wow! That fight was over before it even started.
Volley's got his passive going up, but he is not going to survive.
Wow.
Kayle flashes in for it, and Lucian is going to go down to Zyra's plants. I think that's going to be GG. I mean, surely they must look to go finish it here. The time is
definitely.
There's 15 seconds left on Vi, and she's not going to be able to match all 5 of Scarr'd for life.
I really feel like that had a lot to do with the superior composition from Scarr'd for life. But it's hard to say. Obviously, there are misplays there as well. Well, in any case, that means we've got our first contender for our Division 2 promotional match to get into Super 8. Scarr'd for life.
Scarr'd for life, and they will be up against either Nottingham A or Manchester Penguins.
So we'll try and figure out who we're going to be getting for that game pretty quick. I'll message Josh.
If you message that, I'll just I won't be able to. People won't be able to see it on the stream, but I'll just go kind of through some of the damage charts and stuff at the end of that game. Interestingly, the person who did the most damage out of that was Riven. She ended up dealing by far the most amount of damage. Both Riven, Kayle, Jarvan, and Misfortune were dealing more damage than anyone else on DeMontfort's team. Volley and Vi were, they were just doing hardly any damage at all. I mean, and Zyra and Leona weren't doing too much damage, but even then they were kind of scarred for life.
Wait, do you see Riven doing more damage than Kayle on the damage graph? I see Kayle higher.
On total damage done, yeah.
Oh, I'm looking at damage dealt to champions.
Oh, damage dealt to champions.
Yeah.
Right. That might make a difference. Okay, damage dealt to champions. Riven is only slightly behind.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fairly even. You have Kayle on 22,844, Riven on 22,529. So there's only about 300 damage between them. So yeah, that's rather impressive. If you look at kind of the amount of damage taken in here on Volibear, kind of expect for him to be taking the most amount of damage, certainly with the build that he went for. I mean, I don't think DeMontfort kind of lost that on skill level or necessarily kind of bad core, bad plays. I think it was right in what you're saying. It just seemed kind of a weird composition to go for. You've got the poke of Nidalee and Lucian, but then you've got the hard dive engage of Volley, Vi, and Leona. It was just a bit.
I feel like maybe if they were ahead, then it could have been okay because they could have engaged. But they were the ones being engaged on, and at that point, if they want to fight you, what does Volibear do? He throws their tank into your backline. It's just like... It was maybe kind of a gamble, but I think overall that's not the kind of comp that deals well with what Scarr'd for Life was playing.
No, the synergy wasn't... I mean, because, think, okay, kind of how a team fight would go, think, okay, Leona will land her ultimate on someone, and then Vi will go in, and then you think, okay, well Lucian will start throwing his culling down, and then Volibear will go in, dive, and then just throw whoever he gets back into your. He'll throw them into your back line. By which time Lucian would have finished using his ultimate and won't have that much else to do.
Yeah.
Nidalee's spears are useless at close range, so throwing people close to her isn't going to be doing your team any good. So yeah, it was just a bit of a weird composition. And I do like that Volibear up top though. I do think that worked, and I think the Vi worked, and I think the Leona worked, and I think I don't know, to a lesser extent Lucian did work, but I think maybe if they picked someone like, I don't know, just a Tristana or a Caitlyn, someone like that, and then just a bit more of a standard AP middle, like I was going to say Luxen, but no, that wouldn't have been any good. That would have been a poke. But I don't know, maybe like a Malzahar or something like that would just pin down, Misfortune, or it will stop Riven from jumping around, or if you do it at the start of the fight and burst down Kayle, then they won't be able to use yours. Just, one of those kind of AP champions might have been a bit better in that composition rather than kind of a pokey sort of AP.
I definitely agree with